You're watching Thrifty Kaniffy. Hello everyone and welcome to Thrifty Kaniffy. Today I've got this fisherman's knife that I bought on the secondary market. And I just thought I would show you guys, a before example of it. I'm going to clean this up. Just trying to get the rust off of it, get the springs oiled, get the blades cleaned up. I don't intend to do any kind of like full restoration on it or anything. I'm just going to clean it up and try to get the surface rust off of it and give it some smooth action and polish up the bolsters and the shield and the handles. But this is just a used example of an Imperial Fisherman's knife. This one's like 4 1/8 inch long handle. Blade length on it is got this Turkish clip blade. It's just about 3 3/8 inches length, and then the cutting edge is just about 3 inches. And then you got this scaler with this bottle opener down here. And I just picked this example up because they're really inexpensive on eBay and generally don't cost you much. This one's a little beat up. It's got this part of the scale missing, but there's no threat of it getting any worse because of the way these are built. I don't know if you're familiar with these older knives, but the handles actually got little clips on either side with sort of a hollow shell of aluminum shell, and then these are just kind of like the scales are they just slide onto that aluminum shell with tabs on both sides, so it's not going to fall off because the pins, are loose or something like that. So there's no threat of it getting any worse without me digging at it. So, I just picked this up real cheap and thought, what the heck, I'll make it into a project and see how well I can make it look. You can see how rusty it is there on the back of the spring, and then it's really bad inside here. I'm going to see if I can get some light down in there. It's, does that show? I don't know if it shows. It's tough to see on the camera, but it's real rusty up in there. There you can see it. A little bit. Rust all the way down in there. So just going to try to remove all that and I'll just see how far it can take it. I'm not going to take you through the process of doing that. I just thought I would kind of give you a before and after, and then maybe talk about some of the things I did afterward. Because honestly, I don't even know what I'm going to do to brighten this up. So other than like the polish that obviously I'll use, but as far as getting the corrosion off the blades, I don't know. Whatever technique seems to work best is what I'll end up doing, and I don't know what that is necessarily. So I'm not going to try to walk you through the steps of it or anything like that. I'll just kind of show it to you and then explain what I did afterward. All right, so I'll come back after I'm done and talk more about it. Okay, so now I'm back, and I've pretty well completed everything I wanted to do to it. And let me just walk you through kind of what I did. Get the blades open up. So first thing I did was I just took some of this penetrating lubricant, and I think I got this at a Dollar Tree or some dollar store, and I just filled up the channel, and I worked the blades back and forth a few times, and I sprayed it into the joint and worked that in, and then I just let it set. I propped it up like this, and I just let it set for probably 2 hours to allow that oil to penetrate in there and do its job. Came back and cleaned out the channel with a bunch of Q-tips. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I have an example. Well, this is one. Well, that's not really a good one. But just cleaned it out with a bunch of Q-tips. Probably had like 6, 7 of them that were filthy dirty, and just came through the channel and just kept on getting more and more junk out and more junk out. until the Q-tips kind of started coming up clean, or not very dirty. And then I worked the blades back and forth, and I kept cleaning the tang off as I would work the blade and just clean the tang, move the blade back and forth, clean the tang back and forth, just trying to pick up all the red and orange rust out of the joint. And once I was satisfied I did that, I sprayed it down again with some more lube and kind of let it drain through, and worked the blade some more, tried to pick up more, and then wiped it down with some more Q-tips and paper towels, and had a huge mess in here, and it was an oily mess. But finally was satisfied with the rust being out of it. I oiled up the blades with the same oil, and then used a little bit of just a small application of steel wool with the lubricant acting as a wet sand. I didn't want to take the original polish off of the blade or try to get into any deep grooves or anything. I was just simply trying to get the surface rust off if I felt like it was raised. And once I felt like the blades were smooth, I just kind of stopped at that point. I wanted to kind of have some toning to the blades, but also a little bit of shine at the same time. So once that was done, I started the polishing of the blades and just used an application of flitz with a microfiber cloth, and just hand polished and buffed it until I was satisfied with the way it looked. There's the other side. You can see pretty shiny, but still got the toning on it, right? And then once I did that, I started lubricating the joint with that super lube that I've showed you before, and this was used for cleaning, not lubricating. I wanted to get all the remaining grit out of the joint, and did the same thing I did with the penetrating oil before, where I would lube it and then it would loosen up more of the rust that's in there, and then it would make a mess and get gritty, and then I'd clean it and lube it again and work the blades, get more rust and get gritty, and then wipe the blades, and probably did that 5-6 times till it finally was free of any rust in there. And then once I did that, I also used super lube on the springs and did basically the same thing with them as I did the joint, just working it back and forth until these springs were free of the orange grit. When I wipe it with something like a white paper towel, I wasn't getting anything left. It was just a clean towel. And then finished it off with the light oil. Put up the light oil on the springs and the joint. And now we have nice snappy clothes. And then it was time to polish, and so just buffed and polished the handles with flitz again, with the did a hand buffing of both sides, the bolsters, the handle, the shield, and polished the springs a little bit as well, and that pretty well did it. Just give it a nice buffing afterward. Make sure you get all the oil off. Of course, I've gotten fingerprints all over it since that time, but anyway, I just thought it was a cool addition to my collection. I don't intend to ever use this. This is just a showpiece. The blade on it's super thin. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. The frame of this was bent because, like, when it took that hit right here, it bent probably the last third of the handle, the frame. And in order to kind of straighten it back out so the blades would line up a little better inside, I used a couple of popsicle sticks and wedged them in there. I don't know what I did with them, but anyway, they're a couple of popsicle sticks, and just wedged them in there and forced the straightening of it by the wood. I could then kind of see where it needed to be straightened a little more, and just gave it a couple little knocks where I could. Yeah, and that worked pretty well. You can see it's still not perfectly straight. Got a little kink in it. It goes that way at the end there. But anyway, the blades, they work. You know, again, I wasn't ever going to use this knife, but you know, I wanted it to operate properly, and it does that to my satisfaction. So I'm pretty happy with it. And as I was saying, it was a nice addition to the collection. I kind of thought it was cool that I had an older knife. It was an Imperial, as you can see on the tang here. This is an Imperial. You can read the tang stamp there. It's from USA made. And on the back you got like a serial number of some kind. It's just kind of tough to read, but anyway. It's USA made knife, and I don't have a lot of those, as you guys know. I have mostly Chinese knives, but I thought it was kind of cool that, you know, I've got like generations now of cracked ice Imperial, this sow belly. So, and then I also have sort of a sub collection of cracked ice knives going on now with this Frost and then two Imperials. And I've also got that Stockman Imperial that I could put in here. I just don't have it handy right now. But there you go. Just sort of playing around with some older stuff. You know, we talk a lot about you know, the newer stuff coming out, like a Tadpole or whatever it be. You know, big old lockback. But I do keep my eye on some older stuff too, from time to time. And these particular fish knives are real affordable, so if that's something you're interested in, you're not going to have any problem finding them. Seems like there's 5 or 6 of them on eBay at any given time, so shouldn't have any problem finding them. I just tried to find an example that was good enough to clean up, and I think I did that, accomplished that pretty well with this. But anyhow, that's going to do it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Wanted to try to do something a little different with some older knives today instead of just the newer stuff that you generally see on the channel. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and ring that bell so you know when new videos drop. You guys have a nice day. Take care.